Just give me good volume.
If
I
anything,
tend to speak loudly myself, so.
yeah, if anything, I'm good at speaking loud.
Yeah.
And I have a voice that kind of reverberates over like other noises anyway. I've learned that many times, and when I'm in public places and then all of a sudden the noise stops and everyone's like, I'm like,
right.
hi.
But it's
Hello and welcome to RUNNAH, running on Cape Cod, Massachusetts and beyond. I'm Juliana, your host, and we are reporting to you again live from the Falmouth Road Race Expo 2025. Pew, pew, pew. And today I have with me my first guest of the day, which arguably may be one of my favorite guests of the day, possibly. We have Brian Baker with us today, everyone. Yeah! Excited to have you, Brian.
Well, thank you. I'm truly honored to be here. I know that sounds kind of trite, but no, truly honored to be here. It's Christmas in August. It's Falmouth Week. It's my favorite time of the year, so It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. I feel like you're a pretty prolific personality when it comes to the Falmouth Road Race.
Well, thank you.
You're very well known, even when I walk around and I'm like, oh yes, Brian Baker. People are like, oh yes, we know him. I don't know if it's a combination of how many times you run the race and how much you like to talk to people.
I think that's probably very likely, yes.
Yeah.
Very likely.
Frequency and duration kind of like combined into one.
Sure.
But let's give people an idea of who you are. Let's give you the Wolverine origin story, Brian Baker. Where did we start? Where does the running journey begin?
Wow.
Let's start from the beginning, Brian.
All right. Get ready for a long story.
Okay.
63 years old, born in 62. Started running in exactly May 22nd of 1975. That was the first day of my running career. And it happened because I was taking karate lessons at the time. And it's like, what's that got to do with running?
What was the transition here?
Sensei that I had said, you need more endurance, you need more stamina. So he says, you need to run. So I went I was already doing sit-ups and push-ups, and I had this old Agway wall calendar. And so every day that I dutifully completed my sit-ups and push-ups, I would write S plus P on the calendar. And that was how I kept track. So May 22nd was that ignominious day where it was my first run after him telling me to do so. And to be quite honest, I hated every step of it.
Did you write SPR on your calendar?
I wrote RAN. So it was RAN S plus P. So I had 3 activities now.
Do you have that calendar still?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah. In fact, I've actually posted it on Facebook a couple of times because it was what I was using before, an actual running log. The calendar was my running log. So that was the beginning, and what I was doing, my parents had a fairly large a piece of real estate. It was like about 3 1/4 acres. So I was running laps around the yard, basically. I don't know, it's probably about 1.5 miles or something like that.
And you felt like you had run a marathon. You were just like, I'm dead, this is the end.
So I was doing that before I ventured out onto the roads. And when I did head out onto the roads, I was typically doing like 2 miles per run, and wasn't enjoying it. I was hating it, and I'm thinking, oh man,
this is terrible.
It really was, And
I remember that too. When I started running, I was like, oh no, no.
So that was May 22nd, 1975. In fact, that was actually kind of a cool side story because on May 22nd of this year, I invited all of my running friends that I possibly could, and I ended up getting about, I want to say there were like about 22 or 23 people there for a Thursday morning in the middle of May, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And it included Roger Robinson, Catherine Switzer. I mean, you know, like rock star legends were coming to something to honor me, you know, instead of the other way around to honor my, you know, 50th running anniversary. But I was doing the 2 miles a day thing. I wasn't upping my miles because I didn't like it, so I was just kind of considering that my bare minimum, getting by. And
Sensei will be happy.
In July 3rd of July in 1977, so a little bit over 2 years later, decided to do my first road race, which was a 10-miler on a very hot July day.
How did you go from 2 miles a day hating it to signing up for a 10-miler?
Because, you know, it's kind of like, I think the general theory, the general wisdom is that you can, at any given time in your life, you can run 3 times your daily training distance.
I'll keep that in mind for Berlin, then, running it when my training has been a little bit like, I can do this, guys.
So, you know, that would get you 6 miles if that theory's correct. But it was a 10-miler, and there was a point where I had to stop and walk. But I mean, to this day, I still remember the volunteers that were out there giving out water and giving directions and everything, and it was like an epiphany. It was like this religious experience that I had. That these volunteers were like just such wonderful people. You know, it was like amazing that these people were out there, you know, doing these chores for us runners. You know, so it's like
that's a good way to put it. Doing the chores for us.
Exactly. You know, because we're out there taking. They're the ones that are giving. You know,
they're cleaning and they're cleaning up after us too. We thank all the volunteers. We love you very much.
Absolutely, and I mean, it never fails. You know, even here in the expo or picking up my number. You know, I always make a point of thanking volunteers because it wouldn't happen without them. You know?
Especially with me being on the back end of like the Cape Cod Marathon now, and especially when I'm out running, if there's like a course volunteer or something like that, or an aid station that you pass, I make sure I shout. And I'm like, thank you.
Right.
Because you're exactly right. These races don't happen without the volunteers.
So I finished that race, and it was an interesting experience, something unlike I'd ever done before, but it really, it caused me to test myself in a way that I never had before, you know, to push through 10 miles when I'd never run more than 2, you know? So it's running 5 times my daily distance. And then that was in July of 77, and then it was November, I think I did my 3rd and 4th races. One was a 5-miler, but I think it was my 4th race ever. There's a 25-kilometer race in Poughkeepsie, New York, near where I live, that is monstrously hilly, over 1,000 feet of elevation, over to 25K. And yours truly had this notion,
this was a good idea.
So I ran 15 and a half miles that day on 2 miles a day of training. But
how did you feel after that, Brian?
I was wiped. I was totally wiped. I had my first case of marathon quads, you know.
When you go downstairs and you go, oh no! I remember that happened to me. I was like, oh no.
Yep, going downstairs is a lot of fun, you know.
The worst was when I was running Chicago, and like it happened to me like as I was leaving like the finish line area, and like you have to go down to the subway, and I was like, oh no, and like me and like 10 other people like walking down backwards, and we're just like.
I've kind of patented this. I swing my hips and I put my leg down straight, and then I pivot on that foot and put my leg down straight on the next one.
I think they should just hand out like walkers and canes like at the end of marathons. Just be like, okay, friends.
You know, that could be a growth opportunity.
Yeah.
You know,
So
RUNNAH walkers.
RUNNAH walkers. Right, RUNNAH where you can walk up.
Exactly.
We'll call it walker, WAA, with the AH at the end. I like this business venture.
Let's see. That race, interestingly enough, is my one race that I have a longer streak at than the Falmouth Road Race.
Okay.
That race I actually have run 48 consecutive years every Thanksgiving morning. So like that's my Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving morning, I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't go to Poughkeepsie and do this 25K. So so this year will be my 49th there. But getting to the matter at hand, and the reason why I'm sitting here talking to you, most likely, is that this the 2025 Falmouth Road Race will be my 47th consecutive, and there are so many sub-stories within that, but just a quick note, yes, I did run it in 2020, the virtual race during the pandemic, and I ran the correct course on the correct day, you know, so I did it at like, I did it at like 5:30 in the morning when, you know, there was hardly anybody else out there, you know, because we didn't know how crowded bad things were going to be, but now I did the at-home edition, you know, on the course, so it was official for me. But the world, as I like to joke, it's world famous in my mind. The world famous story is that when I was in high school back in Montgomery, New York, my best friend since high school, still is, Jim Stevenson, came in, and in fact you met him the last 2 years he was here.
Is he coming back this year?
No, he couldn't make it, had other obligations.
Come on, Jim.
Really? I know. He was breaking his 3-year streak here. So he came into school one day, and he had the November 1978 edition of Runner's World. And on the cover was this iconic photo of Paul Fetcher, who I later came to know. He just recently passed away about a month and a half ago, unfortunately. But he was cresting the hill in Falmouth Heights, and it's just this iconic photo, you know, with him grinding along, a bunch of people behind him, you know, the sound in the background, you know, beautiful photograph. So we went into study hall, and we're like drooling all over this Runner's World, and you know, he's 15, I'm 16. I didn't even know Cape Cod existed. I'd never been here. You know?
It's a figment of your imagination.
You know, and he says, hey, you want to go up and run this race next year? And I'm like, okay. You know, we have this reputation where like he is the idea person. He comes up with the crazy ideas. Like that's where we do all of our week-long bike rides, you know, stuff like that. And then I'm kind of like the executor. I kind of like put the things into motion, make them concrete and stuff.
Make some like actual plans.
Right. So we meshed together very well that way, and it was his idea. So I mean, oh my God, we're talking such ancient history here. Most of your viewers probably won't even understand this concept, but back in the day, back before there was dirt and electricity, we had to mail in a request to the Falmouth Road Race,
for a number,
asking for a paper entry blank. And then along with it, we had to send a self-addressed stamped envelope so that they could mail it back to us. So what I had done was I followed the directions perfectly. I, said I want an entry.
Yep.
Here's my envelope. Blah 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 blah. And I thankfully received my entry form. Jim, unfortunately,
doesn't know how to fill out an envelope.
no. He made his request, but he didn't follow directions, and much to his horror, he sent in a personal-sized envelope instead of a business-sized envelope. So the personal-sized envelope wasn't large enough to accommodate the entry form.
Oh, okay.
So instead of getting his entry form back, he got a little note where he was chastised for not sending in the correct size envelope, and so he sent another request in. But by the time they got it, the field had filled. So, so my idea guy, my best friend, who had the idea of running the race, didn't get to run it that year because he screwed up the envelope that he sent. So,
come on, Jim.
So it's for over 47 years now, it's just been a running joke. We always have to bust his chops about that.
This seems fair to me.
I'm sorry?
Seems fair to me.
Oh, absolutely. What comes around goes around. But anyway, little did he know what he had started, because that first race. I'm 17 years old. I'm all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
But that's on Cape Cod, this fictional place that I've never heard of before.
and this. I think the field was capped at about 5,000 back then or something like that.
Oh, I was gonna guess 500, Ryan.
Okay.
That was my just guess, out of naivete.
Okay.
So
I think it was around there. I could be wrong. But the thing was, I did that, and it was just an epiphany. It was just oh my God, this race is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I started branching out. I started running more miles. I ran my first marathon at New York in 1978, and I had a 10-year streak there where I ran it every year from 78 through 87.
Oh, wow.
Qualified for Boston. Well, actually, I qualified for Boston before I was old enough to run it, because back then you had to be 19, and you had to qualify with a sub 250, and I had done that in high school. I ran a 248 when I was in high school, but I was only 18 and I had to be 19. So
that's pretty impressive, right?
My first year at Boston was 81, and I had a 6-year streak, 81 through 86 there. I was getting more knowledgeable and training more professionally, and stuff like that. And next year came around, 1980. I'm running Falmouth again, 81, same thing. I'm starting to bring some friends with me.
As you do, Ryan.
Yeah,
Why would you go by yourself?
Exactly. It's this great experience. Come up and experience it with me. So I was bringing all kinds of friends. I'm getting faster and running more competitively. My peak years were probably 82 through 85, I would say. My early 20s, and my 1984 shirt, my favorite shirt, was my PR year. I ran 39:27 that year.
That's pretty fast, man.
And it was the first time that only twice that I ever ended up breaking 40 minutes on the course. The second time was actually in the year 2000. So it was 16 years later, and I was 38 instead of 22 years old. I was 38, but I had a rocking year. I was so fit. Training went perfectly. Everything was perfect. And I ran a 39:51. So it was I was only 24 seconds slower than I was at 22 years old. So I was really proud of that. But you know, like I had a lot of good years. Like in 1982, it was a heartbreak. I'm renowned for having the Brian Baker gritted teeth grimace at the finish, you know, like that.
There are a few pictures of you like that.
It's well known, and I'm gritting down the final hill to the finish line, and as I cross the finish line, the clock ticks 4:0:0:0.
No.
The heartbreak, you know, it's like running a marathon in exactly 3 hours, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I had you know, numerous 40-minute runs, 41-minute runs, 42-minute runs, you know, things like that. I mean, now it's a struggle to stay under 50, but
that's still pretty fast, Brian.
Well, you know, I have a good streak. You know, with this being my 47th tomorrow, I have a good streak. And I mean, of course, the incredible Brian Salzberg has done them all. You know, I mean, he's a good, you know, friend of mine, and we always, you know, chat and kind of tweak each other, you know, because I'm a few years behind him. But what I am proud of, though, and I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm, you know, patting myself on the back, but
you can pat yourself on the back. It's all good.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Go for it, Brian.
Every single one of my runs here has been between 39 minutes and I think my slowest is like a 50-50, so we'll call it 51 minutes. So I've kept all of them within that 12-minute range.
That's pretty impressive, honestly.
You know, I mean, at the risk of sounding like I'm bragging, I think anybody else would be hard-pressed to, you know, not just have run that many races, but kept the time competitive, you know, over that many years. You know, I was never world class. I was never national class. I was regional class. But as a master, I'm probably like national class. So like if I can make the top 10 in my age group here at
that's
Falmouth,
pretty good.
I'm feeling good about that. You know,
I feel like that's pretty impressive, honestly. I definitely have never run like as fast as you have, Brian.
Well, you know, I'm fortunate that I have, you know, a lot of good training partners, you know, both here, you included, you know, Scott Gelfie, you know, I have a lot of good training partners back in New York. My wife Carolyn is biking beside me many of those days. My dog May is running at the end of her leash many of those days, you know, with me. So lots of miles, lots of training, you know, but
lots of community too.
Like I said, my running year revolves around this weekend. You know, I mean, it's my favorite race, my favorite time of year. I joke with Donna Tosi, and I first had mentioned it to her probably like 5 years ago. You know, I said, when Falmouth week is over, I suffer from PFD. And she goes, what's PFD? And I said, it's post-Falmouth depression. You know, 'cause like, oh my God, the week's over, and now I gotta wait a whole another year for it again, you know? So we kind of have our own little support group, you know, for those who suffer from PFD. But
only you can recover from PFD.
But you know, I mean, with having, I mean, in 2011, having bought the house here, which was really the culmination pipe dream, you know, and that was a story unto itself. But I don't suffer from it as badly as I used to, because in the olden days, it was our big annual trip. So like my wife and I would pack up the car, food, drink, you know, the last bathroom stop, grab the dog, and you know, gird our loins for the 5-hour drive, you know.
Once a year.
Yeah, you know, and it was like, okay, this is our week. And I mean, you know, now having the house, I mean, I'm here, you know, for the whole summer. You know, I'm here for weekends year round. So I don't go through that year-long withdrawal, normal. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
waiting
like
and waiting and waiting.
the race weekend might be over, and it's like, oh, that's kind of sad. But I mean, the good vibes that I get from the town and running here, and you know, seeing you and Scott and all my Falmouth friends, you know, my neighbors, you know, it keeps the good vibes going, you know, year round. So, like I said, it's not quite as bad as it used to be.
That's good. I mean, as you know, Falmouth is a pretty like year-round running community too.
It
so,
is.
Like,
it really is.
You can show up any day of the year, and there's people outside running.
That's one of the great things about it. You know, heading out onto the bike path, and you know, there's always people to meet up with.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I mean, kind of tangentially to the story, but like I'm very, very fortunate to have so many world-class famous runners that are truly friends more than acquaintances. You know, Rod Dixon, Jeff Smith, Bill Rogers, Frank Shorter, you know, all these guys, Steve Jones, and it's like Falmouth weekend is when everybody gets together. You know, it's old home week, you know, so it's like, I mean, I'll see some of them throughout the year in other places, but hopefully we'll all be together in Falmouth, you know, and that's what, just another thing that makes Falmouth so awesome. In fact, one of the cute side stories with Frank is that he had grown up in Middletown, New York, which is where my business is. You know, back in New York, and he used to come back to, he was living in Boulder, Colorado at the time, but he used to come back to Middletown every June because we would have a 10K there. It was called the Orange Classic. So for Middletown, New York, that was kind of like our Falmouth. It was the big race.
Super Bowl, the big old thing.
Yeah, we used to get, you know, in the good days, the heady days of the 80s, we used to get 2,000, 2,500 people, you know, in the field.
That's a fair amount of people.
Yeah, and, you know, we'd have some world-class runners. I mean, Joan Samuelson was there a few times. Bill and Frank had a rivalry. The first year, 1981, they were on the cover of the Runner magazine with an iconic photo. You know, Gary Finelli, a lot of big names were showing up there. But I mean, Frank was there, but I really didn't know him. It was just like, hi, shake his hand. You know,
he was on to the next person. You know?
I'm a fanboy, you know, that kind of thing. But, you know, as we got older and Frank kept coming and everything, you know, we started getting to know each other.
Like, I know that face. He's here again.
Yeah, you know, that guy, he's always around.
He's just like he's coming back or something.
Yeah.
Weird.
And Frank Giannino, who's a pretty well-known guy in our town in his own rights. He ran twice across the country, like Dave McGilvery.
Wow, impressive.
He, you know, he knew Frank rather well, and you know, we'd get together, you know, race weekend or something like that. But the funniest thing was when Frank moved from Boulder to Falmouth, and you know, I'd see him and I'd say, you know, you copied off of me. You knew I had a good gig because I got my home in New York, but you know, I bought a place in Falmouth, and you know, now here you are doing the same thing. You know, so it was just kind of like, you know, a little chop busting kind of thing. You know,
you may or may not like to do that, Brian. Possibly.
But what really made it come full circle was I run the Hyannis Half Marathon. My friend Paul Collier puts it on, and he had Frank there as the awards presenter a year or two ago, and I'd won my age group, and Paulie had me come up on stage to get my medal, and Frank's handed it to me. So I start walking away, and Frank goes, "No, Brian, come back here, come back here." And you know, it's in the the big conference room at at the conference center, and you know, Frank's going, you know, Brian and I go way back. You know, we're both from Middletown, New York, and
you're like, wow, I guess I am friends with Frank Shorter now.
You know, and he's going, you know, he bought his house here in Falmouth, and then I followed him, and now he busts my job and everything. You know, it's so funny. So you know, it's like all these years, you know, and they finally come full circle. But it's kind of cool to travel in those circles, because like I said, having those kind of guys like friends, like Rod Dixon is one of my best friends in the whole wide world. Jeff Smith, great friend, and you know, we get together here. I mean, Rod spent the summers of, I mean, he's stuck in New Zealand right now, but he spent summer of 2018 and 2019 here with me in Falmouth. You know, getting together with Jeff. I just saw Jeff this morning right after I did the shakeout run. Hopefully get together with him sometime after the race. We usually go for a run or a ride. You know, traveling in those circles, to me, when I was in 20, these were like all the rock stars. They were my heroes. I was a fanboy.
They're like untouchable.
And now, I mean, they're my friends. You know, we text each other and we get together and stuff. And it's like, I never would have thought that 40 years ago, you know. And in fact, I'm going to bring up one of my pet peeves. And I was just discussing this at the run today, and also with Carolyn. But
let's give it. What is your
running community? And listen to me, people.
Listen to Brian.
Yes, I'm pleading with everybody. The running community is fortunate enough to have our running heroes, our running legends, for the most part, still be with us. We've still got Bill Rogers, Frank Shorter, Jeff Smith, Rod Dixon, Steve Jones. All these guys are, you know, I mean, they're getting in their 70s or whatever, but they're still with us. And I mean, I walk around with them, and all too often, they're anonymous. You know, people don't recognize them. I mean, if Babe Ruth or Mickey Mantle walked around, people would be glomming all over them, you know, because they're revered, they're baseball, you know, heroes, and you know, their history. And our history is living, it's in the present, it's here.
Still here.
But like, I talk to people and I go, yeah, I'm friends with Rod Dixon, and they're like, who's Rod Dixon? You know, it's like, oh, it breaks my heart, you know. So it's like, I implore runners, I know I'm in my 60s and I'm an old fogey, but learn your running history, people. Falmouth is what it is because of Bill Rogers, Frank Shorter, Joan Benoit Samuelson, all these running heroes. I mean, Joan ran the first and won the first Olympic women's marathon in 1984. I know this person. It's like, this is incredible. She won Falmouth 6 times. I mean, you know, but she walks around and
people are like, I don't know that woman.
So, you know, sorry, I didn't mean to bring you down, but I'm just...
Brian had a soapbox he wanted to stand on.
That's my soapbox. I'll sit down again now. But, you know, it's like, we have to appreciate our history, especially while they're still here and, you know, can be revered, you know. I think that's important, to show them our appreciation. They're the running pioneers. They're the ones who did this, you know. I mean, Tommy Leonard, how can I not mention his name? You know, I mean, the incredible story of him, you know, being, whether it was at the bar, the name's escaping me right now, you know, in Boston, or the quarterdeck here in Falmouth, you know, turning on the TV and Frank's winning the Olympic marathon in Munich in '72, and, you know, those kind of things. But I mean, Tommy's vision, I mean, I talk about this with Donna Tosi frequently. You know, the fact that his vision of bringing Frank Shorter here to this little seaside town for what was basically, you know, his birthday celebration run, and, you know, just the amazing thing that it's turned into. And I mean, all of the friends, some of them standing here right now, that I've made because of this race. It's just amazing, you know.
And running in general too. Like I feel like for me as well, and I'm sure for you, Brian, too. Running has brought so many like connections into my life and like friendships.
It's so true. I mean, I know Alma from Facebook, Jim from Facebook, Chris from Facebook, and they've all turned into real world running friends, you know, just because of those running connections. And I mean, I always say all of my best friends are typically my running friends. You know, my training partners back home, you know, I have Allison and Mal and Liz and Matt and Jean and, you know, Lynette and all these people. They're like my daily runners, and I always say, like, we're forging, I love that word, forging our friendships, running those miles out on the roads together, whether we're freezing our butts off in the winter or sweating our butts off in the summer, you know. And those kind of friendships aren't made lightly. They're very strong binds, or, you know, boundary, or, you know, binds, because, you know, you're out there, you know, just hammering the miles, you know, you're out there on a 20-miler, pounding the pavement or whatever, you know, it's not like
yourself.
You know, it's not like meeting up at the bar for a drink or something. I mean, I don't drink, so I never go to bars, but I mean, you know, it's just, it's such, to me, it's so much more, you know, of a stronger foundation for friendships, you know, that kind of thing. So
I can agree with that, Brian. Let's pivot back to the Falmouth Road Race.
Yeah, I got off tangent.
No,
sorry.
that's okay. You're more than fine. That was some great stories. But this is going to be your 47th year consecutively running.
Correct.
Let's say if you could convince someone's like, I'm Brian. I know this is going to be hard for you to imagine, but I don't know if I want to run the Falmouth Road Race or not. Clearly, you have a lot of experience running it, but I'm not convinced that it's a good race to run. How would you convince me to run the Falmouth Road Race with all your years of experience? What are your selling points? Sell me on this race. Don't make me want to run it no matter what.
The first thing, invariably, the first thing that I tell people is run it once, and I won't have to sell you on it. It'll sell itself. That's to me,
actually pretty good
kind of sums it up. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I had to convince you to run it that first time, we're talking. Okay, I'm going to kind of get up on a soapbox. It's a race where you are running with
We'll give you like a half-size soapbox.
world champion runners, national class runners, Olympic runners. We are so fortunate in this sport that we get to compete. You know, like I couldn't go to, you know, the Fenway and hop on the field and play with the guys. You
can't just join the Red Sox off the cuff.
You know, but I mean, I can run in the same course in the same race with all these guys. You know, so Falmouth offers that. Okay, it offers what, in my not so humble opinion, is the most beautiful seaside course there is.
I'm going to second this opinion.
Thank you. It's challenging. You know, it's not like you're just running, you know, circles around the track. I mean, those first 3 miles are kind of hilly for a seaside town.
And tight, too.
And tight. And, you know, fortunately, we're blessed with the shade there. But, you know, when we come out on the surf drive,
not
you know,
so
between 3 and 4, it's like, okay, we level out. It's nice and flat now. But, Mr. Sun is going to start beating down and making us sweat, you know? So, but, I mean, it's a beautiful course. You're running side by side with the best in the world, but you're also running with 12,000 other people of all abilities, ages, backgrounds. You know, people who come
nationalities.
from you know, from all over the world. I mean, you know, they list people from all the states, you know, all the countries. I mean, this is a world-class event. This isn't just you know, your hometown 5K, you know, that people are kicking around in. I mean, this is the big time. This is really the big time, you know. So, I mean, I guess those would to be my selling points, you know. And I mean, for me, you know, with the history that I have, I'm always challenging myself because at 63, I'm not going to run the time that I ran at 22, but I can still compare my ability over the exact same course that I ran in 1979 and 1984 and 2000 and 2012 and, you know, whatever year it is, I'm still out there. It's that same exact 7 miles unchanged. How do I compare in 2025 to, you know, 25 years ago in 2000 or, you know, whatever it is, you know? So that once you've been doing it for a while, I think that's a big thing too, because like Falmouth has history, and I think that's one of the big things about it is it has such a tremendous history, and they've never changed. I mean, outside of the finish line, they've never really changed the course. You know,
which is odd for a race that's been going this long too.
Yeah, I mean, I've got races that I run, and you know, they'll have 6 different courses in 10 years, and it's like, how do you compare one to the other?
You know, you think back, like I think I ran like faster last year, but then like, wait, there are 2 more hills this year, and then there was that out and back that we did last year that we didn't do this year.
Exactly.
This is not, it's not as cut and dry.
So I mean, to be able to come here and know that you're running that same course that you know is here year after year. You know, I was, I don't know whether it was you or it was you. I was, but I tell a lot of my friends, you know, it's I live between my driveway in New York and my driveway in Falmouth. It's 261 miles. That's my drive, 261 miles. And after 46 years, or 47 tomorrow, I'll have raced, if I calculated correctly, 235, right? Or however many miles it is. You know, or
it's like 300 something.
7 miles at a time, 7 miles in a chunk that I've raced this course. So it's like or 325. I mean, so I've raced from my house in New York to my house in Falmouth, and now I'm back on my way to New York again. You know, so it's like it kind of puts it into perspective that I've run 325 miles, 7 miles at a time. It's like
one race.
You know, it's kind of mind-boggling even for myself, and you know, I mean, I have a lot of people and they go, wow, 47 years in a row, and it's starting to sink into me, especially as I close in on 50. You know, like 2028 is going to be, you know, big deal for my 50th. Definitely. But you know, when you start looking at the numbers and you add them all up, I mean, I've always been a math and a numbers guy. It's like, wow, that's a lot of miles. Wow, that's a lot of years, you know?
It definitely is. It definitely is. Well, I'm excited that you're going to get to run your 47th this year, Brian.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
We'll wrap up our little interview. Is there anything else that you want to, like, any intentions you want to set for your race tomorrow? Any just like mantras you want to just give to people as like your closing thoughts about the Falmouth Road Race? Or tell them to get the fuck on out there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the advice, I ran with a young lady who introduced herself to me on the shakeout run, and I gave her the same advice. You know, first 3 miles are hilly but shaded. Don't go out too fast. You know, it levels out the last 4 miles, but you're going to be in the sun, so make sure you're taking your hydration and, you know, whatever else you need to do.
And there's a nice stop. There's an ice station at the Surfside Beach House this year.
Oh, nice.
Nice. So you can get some ice this year.
Okay, I like that idea. So that's the advice. You know, as far as shout outs, you know, I have to, you know, you had Scott Gelfie on. You know,
yes, I heard there was some beef you might want to shout out.
You know, I can't dispute what he said. He spoke the absolute truth. He kicked my butt over the final 200 meters. My only comeback is I hope he enjoyed it, because it was the first and last time he's going to do that to me.
And this is where that rivalry continues, my friends.
But, you know, I have so many great friends. I appreciate them showing up here today. I want to give a shout out to my wife, who, you know, is at my side all the time, usually on the bike, sometimes on foot, but usually on the bike. You know, and like I said, just all my friends that make Falmouth what it is. Like I said, it is incomparable with everybody meeting up here. You know, we have our little meet up in Crow's Nest at the finish line, you know, after the race is over, and that's always fun too. So I always look forward to that, hanging with all the guys. So it's just, the race is incomparable, but it's the lead up to the race that makes it great.
And the people.
You know, the after parties, you know, just getting together with everybody. It's not a race, it's a happening. It's
like it's an event. It's a thing.
It is. It really is.
It's an experience.
Absolutely. And of course, I have to say thanks to Jim for bringing that runner's world into our study hall back in 1978.
Isn't it wild, the things that, like, what things boil down to? Like, it's like, if that hadn't happened, would you be here, Brian? That, like, one moment.
I tell people, one of the things that I really like to do is every once in a while, stop right where I am, turn around and say, how did I get here? And with Falmouth, it's so perfectly delineated. It's not like,
it's clear.
Well, I think, or maybe, or no, it's very clear.
Specific, like, starting point.
Very specific. You know, just like my first run, it's very specific. You know, most people go, I think I started running back in whatever year, but you know, it's like, no, I can pinpoint the day, and I can pinpoint why I'm here 47 years later. You know, so it's that big of a deal, and obviously my life, you know, it revolves around it. I mean, Carolyn and I came here, you know, for our honeymoon, and we started vacationing here. You know, all because, you know, I have the house here, all because Jim brought that magazine in. So he owes me a lot of money. It was very expensive.
Yeah, he better pay you back for the house, all the travel expenses, all the entries.
Exactly. Thank you.
You know, he owes you all those funds too, and we're going to really say.
I think we should have like a GoFundMe or something like that.
Yeah, he might have to do that. We'll put that out to Jim. But this was great, Brian.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime I get to talk to you and get to talk about the Falmouth Road Race,
it's always a good time.
You know I'm in.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. We'll do the little segment that I like to do at the end called "What shoe do you choose to use?" I'm not done yet, Kurt. Okay. So we'll do "What shoe do you choose to use?" So you can tell me your favorite running shoe right now, or your current running shoe, or you can talk about.
Are we talking about racing or training?
You can say both.
Okay, well.
Or pick one.
I mean, training, I've got like about 5. I'm an Adidas fanboy. Yes. I have been since I'll be wearing the Adizero Pros.
Adios Pro.
Adios Pros, yeah. I've been wearing, I'm into my third, right? Yeah, my third pair of them, and
Pros,
they're fast. They make me fast, you know, and they have a real good feel. Yeah, they get the Brian Baker 2 thumbs up.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks for that, Brian.
Hey, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate it. And thanks for inviting me on. This is fun. You know, I'm in my glory when I can talk, and especially when I can talk about Falmouth Road Race. So.
I know you were nervous to speak too, because talking to people is very outside your wheelhouse.
I know. I never have anything to say. You know?
Never.
I just clam up.
A man of 2 words, and that is it. No more, no less. Just like me, I never have anything to say.
True.
Never have
we're 2 peas in a pod.
Yeah, we definitely are, right? But if people want to like follow you or find you, where's the best place to do that?
Definitely on Facebook. I'm not huge on social media, but if you're going to find me, you'll find me on Facebook at Brian Baker, Brian Baker, and
or come to the road race next year.
Yeah, cheer me on.
Woo!
Be number 48 next year.
That'd be exciting. And people can see you from your singlet that has the numbers that
That's
change
right.
on the
That's
back.
right. Look for the 47 tomorrow. I'll have it front and back.
Yep, that'd be fantastic. Wonderful, Brian. Okay.
Thank you.
And friends, if you'd like to get in contact with us over here at Runner, you can contact me at runnapod@gmail.com or runnapod on Instagram. And that's going to be it. And we'll see you on the next episode of Runner. Woo!
Thank you.
Good job,
Awesome.
Brian. That was great.
That was fun.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you for listening to this episode of RUNNAH. This podcast is edited, hosted, and produced by me, Juliana Coughlin. Brought to you in part by the Falmouth Running Club and the Falmouth Community TV station. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on Instagram and on TikTok at RUNNAPOD. And you can send us an email at runnapod@gmail.com. And our original theme music was brought to you by the one and the only wonderful Jeffrey Hutton. And keep up the great work. I'm proud of you.